everyone, Randy here, and welcome to the Darq project, which is all about learning to oh, are you done now? Do you have more? Row. And welcome to the Darq project, which is all about learning to craft a creative and fulfilling life. And as you can see, I am surrounded by and wearing crochet attire, and I have 2 books with me. So this is going to be kind of a wrap up and talking about where things are going to be headed moving forward. I have a cat who's helping, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Una, say hi. So we're gonna move so that I have my hands free, so that we can talk about some things. Oh hey, we've moved. And yes, I have the nice ring light going, and I'm wearing my contacts, and we've got this nice-ish backdrop, provided that this screaming, meowing, purring dork doesn't roll into the tripod. We should be fine, although she is being kind of goofy. So, as you can see, I have been crocheting in the last 2 weeks. An excessive quantity out of nowhere. I had Sunday off. You know, I was all worried about the kids being the loud ones, and instead it's the cat. Can I unhook your claw from the blanket? Thank you. There we go. So, I've been crocheting a lot, and it's been really nice. I'm going to talk about this in my 2025 goals video because I have been doing a lot of soul searching and trying to figure out what I want to do going forward with a lot of things. And I think I finally settled on what I need to do, and it's what I've been wanting to do with this channel for a very long time. And some people will love it and some people will hate it, and quite frankly, it's my channel. I just don't care at this point because it's about me having the urge to continue making content, and I refuse to completely compartmentalize every aspect of my life because that's how some other people choose to live theirs. So we'll talk about that later, but I've been crocheting a lot. So I'm just going to kind of show the things that I made, and as you saw, I made a crocheted sweater. It used up an entire Karen big cake of, I think it was Cookie Crumble was the colorway. It's like this gray and black and white. And the sleeves are fraternal twins. They are not identical twins, and that is fine. The whole point was I just wanted to use the entire ball of yarn. I didn't want anything left. And there's some Red Heart Super Saver going on here. I actually ended up having to add a few rows onto the bottom because even after steam blocking it, it didn't come down quite as far as I wanted it to here. So, yeah. Added on a couple of rows of black to the bottom with a little bit of a ribbed texture to it. Not that anybody really notices that, but it's fine. And it never really gets cold here in Washington, so it's actually been pretty comfortable to just throw this on and then throw my denim jacket on over top of it, and I'm good to go. I am keeping the sweater. The sweater is for me. I will say it took somewhere in the realm of between 13 and 15 hours total work time. I just started it in the afternoon one day and then had the next day off from work and just sat around watching stuff and stitching. It's just half double crochets for the most part. I was inspired by, I cannot remember her channel name, but she goes by Bella, I believe. And she does a lot of freehand crochet stuff. So this was made with more of a recipe than a hard and fast pattern. So I did some math beforehand to figure out, oh, I want it to be this long. I need the sleeves to be this long. This is my gauge, blah, blah, blah. So there's some advanced math that you'll never use in your life, and there's some advanced math from school that I use more frequently than I realize, and geometry is one of those, and that's fine. So all of these things that I'm going to be showing you, which are all just hats, are going to be up in my Shopify store within the next week-ish, depending on when I get to take pictures. Because it's supposed to rain for like the next 2 weeks straight, I'm probably going to have to just get out my studio lights and make it look like there's daylight, because there is no daylight. We've reached the part of the year in Washington where there just is no daylight, even though we've passed the solstice, and we should be getting more sun. Also, the boys are here. You may have already heard some noises in the background, so if you hear signs of life, my 10 and almost 12-year-old are here. They're just down in the living room doing things. As long as they're not screaming like they're killing each other or breaking something, it's life. So, hats. And if you are not a yarny person, I will put in a timestamp so you can skip this stuff. But if you are a yarny person or just a creative person looking for something different to do, this might be interesting to you. I have a piece of hair stuck on my eyelash. Oh, it's an eyelash. That was trying to stab me in the eyeball. Because, you know, it's the best when your body tries to destroy itself. So, these hats are both knitted. They are made with a Centro knitting machine. And they are in, if you recall from the old Random Randy crafting days, they are made in my favoriteest yarn ever, which I don't know if it even exists anymore. It was once upon a time called Deborah Norville's Everyday Yarn from Premier, and this is the Lava colorway. All of the hats that are squarish like this actually look like cat ears when you put them on. If I can get it on with my hair here. And then duck down. See how it's got the little bits here on the end? And if you pull it down farther, it looks more cat-like, but yeah. Cat ear hat. This one is actually a little looser than I would like, but I like my hats a little bit slouchy, but this is kind of very loosely woven because I was relearning how to use the tensioning thing on the knitting machine. So there's those two that are red and black, definitely very emo kid, very elder millennial, or early 2K as the young people who were born when I graduated from high school say, and that hurts my heart. There are these two, which are made with some Red Heart Super Saver Fair Isle. I'm not sure what the exact colorway is on these. One of them is a few rows longer than the other because I wasn't sure which one I liked better. They aren't really meant to have a brim rolled up, but this one's a little bit longer, so you could. Then all of the rest of these are crocheted. And these, sometimes the stripes will make a complete stripe, sometimes they don't. That was not the point. The point was I wanted to burn through some yarn, and I definitely did. I'm actually going to go through and weigh these to see how much yarn I've used up in the last 2 weeks, because I'm not going to be buying any for the foreseeable future. And I am down to, and I say down to because if you were here before, you know that I have an entire huge ass shelf that was full of nothing but yarn. I've gotten rid of probably 7 15-gallon trash bags worth of yarn that I've just donated because after trying to sell it for the longest time, wasn't worth it, and I just wanted to reclaim the space in my house, which is sometimes more important than hanging on to stuff. Yes, you've spent money on it, and you tell yourself, but I spent money on this. If I get rid of it, I should be able to get something back for it. But if nobody's willing to give you money in exchange for the thing, then you're going to hold on to it forever. And that's how hoarding happens. I'm trying not to get to that point. We're in this dinky little 800 square foot apartment, and I've only got so much space. And I already have crap stacked to the ceiling. Although I will say, every time I go in my living room, I have to remind myself that a year ago, we had crap stacked to the ceiling and you could barely walk through the living room because I was still working on paring down a 1,400 square foot house worth of shit into our tiny little apartment. And I was hoping that we'd be moving out of this apartment sometime soon. But with the way the economy is and the way Washington is, I do not foresee us getting to move out of here, unfortunately, in the near future. So I am doing my damnedest to make the best of what I have and where I am. Finally. Because I've always kind of had one foot out the door, hoping and waiting, wondering when the other foot's going to get to leave too. And unfortunately, both feet are still here. So I just need to kind of learn to roll with it and be a little more content with where I'm at, but still keep pushing to get out of here. Anyway, crochet things. So I've been doing these while I've been watching YouTube videos and just stuff on TV, nothing of import. Actually, the other day I had a marathon of almost the entire season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer before I got the kids back for Christmas and cried excessively about a lot of things. Rewatching a show from when you were a teenager, when you are an adult and a parent, you notice things that didn't really hit you in quite the same way when you were a kid. It definitely beats you up in a weird and interesting fashion when you're an adult. But anyway, so this is another cat ear beanie. And you can see it's got little bit of ribbing on the bottom. This one is a little bit tighter and smaller, which can still fit an adult, but not unless you are a small adult. And I am not a small adult, so I would say that this is more like a kid, teenager-sized one. And this is more a regular adult size. And this, I was just randomly varying the stripes. There's those two. And I have these two, which this was made with Big Twist Sincerely in the, I think, blue confetti colorway. I've got the stupid ball band somewhere and I'm not looking for it. I'm pretty sure that Sincerely yarn from Big Twist has been discontinued. I do still have some of the green and yellow that I used to use to make the Cthulhu octopus hats, which I'm probably going to do a limited run of with that yarn and then try to find another substitute green. I'm trying to think of 4 or 5 patterns I can make on repeat a lot that are kind of mindless to me to put in my shop instead of doing such a super varied assortment of things. Like, yeah, sometimes I might make a random amigurumi and throw it up in there, but I'm not going to do custom orders for 5 million things because I do still have a full-time job and I've got kids and I've got a house to take care of and I have no partner to help me with any of that shit. So, things. But if I can be maybe bringing in a little bit of extra cash from crocheting in my downtime on top of all the other things, why not? This one, another one of my favorite yarns, Red Heart, Super Saver, or Blacklight. I am down to like maybe a 3-ounce ball of this, and I used to have 3 of the big, huge skeins that you can only buy online. I've only got 1 partial skein of this left. Now, once I've used up some of this stuff, I will probably go collect some of my yarns that are my favorites to work with, but yeah. Like this one, I don't remember what this one with the 2 colors was. It was some Red Heart twist, neon something or other. And it has a Hirschner's black sparkle yarn that I'm pretty sure was a holiday thing. And this one is made from my Feline Fine pattern that I have up on the channel here. And it's double-stranded, again, with that Hirschner sparkle and the neon twist. The way the colors worked up with this, because you work it in vertical rows and then you seam it. And yeah, Hunter has a cold. It made it so that it's two completely different colors on either side, so you could wear it with either side forward depending on how you're feeling. And it's on the longer side, so this one is definitely folded up with a brim type. Meow. So yeah. This is a pattern that, like I said, I already have up here on the channel. And these hats were all the result, well, probably the first three, which would have been like those ones. So these three were the result of me figuring out the best sizing and making a pattern for the way I wanted to do this. Because I've seen a lot of people doing cat hats, and you guys know I've always done cat hats if you've been here for a bit, and if not, I used to crochet cat hats all the time. But I've been watching some younger, I hate using this phrase, but we're going to say crochet influencers. Fiber artists sounds better than crochet influencers. It just makes it sound vapid and hollow to me. That's how I know I'm old. But anyway, I've watched them making striped cat beanies, which is cool, but they do it in one big long piece, and then they've got 9 million ends to tie in when they're done. And I'm like, you're wasting so much yarn when you're doing it that way. You can float your yarn up the inside, so you've only got your initial tie on and your initial tie off. Like, where would it even be if I can even find it here? Oh, there we go. So when you're doing color changes, I don't know if you'll be able to see, you can just float your yarn up if you're using multiple colors, you can do the same thing with all of them. But you just take your yarn and you throw a loop around it. Once you slip stitch in and do your chain up for your next row, just catch that yarn behind to make sure it's not tight so it doesn't pull. And then you don't have to like tie off and weave in a million ends and waste the yarn and waste your time. And these are all made in the round with a foundation double crochet, so it's stretchy on the bottom instead of being tight like if it was just a regular chain and then double crocheted. And you can't see it from the outside. Like crap, which side was it even? Is it that side? Now I gotta look again because I closed it and I moved it. Yeah, this side. So like you can't see the float on the inside, which is something that I learned to do through knitting, but you can do it with crochet too, and do it with like intarsia and all that stuff. It's just, stop wasting your yarn, stop wasting your time, work smarter, not harder, make it as efficient as possible. So that's all the yarny stuff for now. So this whole honking stack of things will be going up in my Shopify store. And I have to work on moving my patterns from Etsy over to Shopify, because I am still getting pattern sales from Etsy here and there to the tune of somewhere between 40 or 50 bucks a month, which is nothing to sneeze at because I've got the Forest Fairy hood pattern, the Hangetsu shawl, which is a half circle shawl that I designed myself. Also got the little Loa Poppet doll pattern and the absolutely perfect cappuccino, I think is what it's called, amigurumi. That's a little kitty ami that looks like it's a cat inside of a cappuccino. I love you, SeaTac. It's so great. My favorite thing. So, now that that is all done, hello if you are a person who is here for bookish things and writing talk, because you probably skipped the yarn stuff, and that is fine and acceptable. And once I'm done talking about the books, I will talk about the way I'm going to split that stuff going forward for people who only want one or the other, and if you like both, you can indulge in both. So, you will see that I have 2 paperbacks in my hand. Not just the one, which was my re-debut novel that came out in June. But I also have this, which is the first season of the Infernalia Chronicles, which is my paranormal, we'll say like TV 14, but with more coarse language level serial that I'm writing. And this is something that I had been working on for a while. I was publishing this weekly. I am going to have season 2 be going up weekly over on my Substack starting in February. I'm going to be getting all of it written up in January, and then it's going to have weekly drops through February and March. And then maybe April. I think I was planning 15 chapters for season 2. I did 13 chapters for season 1 because numbers. But this, I just recently released a few days ago because my goal for the year was to do 1 publication quarterly. And I was like, well, I only got 2. And I was like, meh, fuck it, who cares? And I was like, but you've got that whole first season of this that all you got to do is go through and do a revision and format it, and then you could have 3 out of 4, which is better than 2. I was like, you know, why not? So I did, and absolutely nobody has read it or bought it. It is in Kindle Unlimited. Both of these are in Kindle Unlimited. With this one, as much as I hate to say it, mind your trigger warnings, which are also on my Substack. Because apparently it's only acceptable to do adult, consensual, familial relations, shall we say, for the sake of not saying things that'll get me dinged, if you're Colleen Hoover or George R.R. Martin. Any other mention of that in a completely fictional, paranormal, non-human setting is very gauche, I suppose. Oh well, I'm going to keep working on this series anyway. But because of that, I'm pretty sure that I killed it, despite writing it as the weird little book of my heart that I just wanted to put out in the world. There's going to be 4 or 5 more books in this series, and I'm hoping to have the second one come out in June again. I think I'm going to stick to a June release for this series. We'll do a season or 2 of this every year. Maybe more if it totally picks up traction, or if I'm just having fun writing it, we'll see. And then I've got another series that I'm starting that is taking different directions than I was expecting it to, but I'm planning on probably a late fall release for that. So, my writing goals, I did okay for the year. I didn't have a word count goal, but I was excited that I managed to make a cover for this, which this is the proof copy, so you're not really going to be able to fully appreciate it, but this is not AI. This is just photo bashing, graphic design stuff. And it is long enough that it actually gets to have writing on the spine, although it is quite small. So this is a lot cheaper because it is small, and you will notice the print size difference. When I release the second book of this in June, these huge ones, which are really pricey to print, I'm going to be shrinking it down to this size, which is closer to mass market paperback size. Amazon only lets you do certain sizes if you want to potentially have expanded distribution and international distribution. So, yeah. But this is my reverse harem, vampire, polyawakening, paranormal funsies with an alternate history series. And I like it. And my stepbrother and his friends enjoy it. So at least somebody's reading it, even if they're not in a position to be able to post reviews. And this, I think, will also be interesting to them. We'll see. This is kind of like, I think the best way to describe this series, which I actually created an entire kind of world system almost for a TTRPG, and it's kind of based on the World of Darkness system. I went through and came up with populations for all of the supernatural critters involved in the entirety of the world. broken down by population density compared to humans in an area, and it was really in-depth and ridiculous, all for a shonen paranormal anime-esque Buffy the Vampire Slayer / supernatural horror action drama series. So I'm trying to keep this diet spice. I want it to stay PG-13. I don't want to do any open door smut scenes. There will probably be a few here and there where there's some tension leading up to it, and then it's more than implied that it happened. But this has enough eggplants for like every season of this combined just in this one book alone. And there's actually going to be less of that in the books going forward. So think of this book like if you've ever been an anime watcher. There's usually like a training power scaling sequence. She had to acquire all of the eggplants to kind of unlock her power, if that makes sense. There's actually a totally not kid-friendly anime that may have inspired that particular aspect of it. Books. And I don't want to talk too terribly much about my goals for 2025 because that will be another video, and I have rambled on long enough with this one. But I do have my face on. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the reason that everything is flopping is because I let my premium subscription on Twitter /X pass because I was like, oh, well, I don't want to keep paying for, you know, the muskrat to do what he do. But by the same token, Twitter is my social media platform with the highest engagement and biggest audience aside from my YouTube channels. So I re-upped my premium Twitter as much as I hate it. And I've seen engagement go back through the roof so fast. It's ridiculous that everything is pay to play now to actually really reach eyeballs. It's frustrating. So I'm hoping that things will pick back up there. I actually have to go through and make some marketing graphics and maybe do some sound bites. And I am going to be doing audio chapters for everything. Any of the ones that are here that are NC-17 are going to be only over on my Substack for premium subscribers. And all of these are going to be up on my other YouTube channel. And we'll see if the lots of swearing that's in this one gets things dinged on my other channel or not. We'll find out. And if it turns out that the swearing quotient on this is just too much, then I'll just heap these up on my Substack and go forward with these on YouTube. The only issue with this is that it would be really super cool to have a fully casted audio drama, but that would be a lot to edit. I'm still considering it because this entire season is completely written. So theoretically, I could take it and pop it out in highlighted script-ish form and get other people to read parts and then post them up on my channel and have the whole season done. And then the whole second season will be done and written by the end of January. So theoretically, I could pull it off, but I don't know. It's a lot. And I don't like that when it comes to audio now, people are expecting multiple narrators. Like, do you know how hard that is to edit and compile and everything? It's so much work. And really, just seriously, like, what happened to people just being able to enjoy listening to one person read the story to them? Voices are cool and all. I am not going to crank up my cartoonishness and be like, oh, well, I can't do a man's voice, so I'm just not going to do it. No. Get over yourself. It's totally okay for a book to be read, not only by an author, but by one person who is of one gender expression or another, or neither gender expression, or all of the gender expressions, however the hell you want to do it. Maybe I'm just aggravated at entitled people thinking that their $14 a month Audible subscription means that they should get like a 15 different human being character audio cast. But that's because I know how much work goes into it, and I feel like the average reader has no idea. So I suppose that's no fault of their own, kinda, sorta-ish. But anyway, that will be it for this video for me. So this is just kind of a vlogish wrap-up of December in general, because I haven't posted a video in 2 weeks. I'm going to do a short little video about my goals with writing for the next year, my goals with other creative things. Oh, and that's the other thing that I wanted to mention, that in order for me to not feel rushed in making things in the interest of doing content, 1 week is going to be a writing and book related thing, and then the next week will be yarny stuff and other crafting things. I do also do beading and sewing and a whole bunch of other things, and I have a lot of supplies, and it just makes sense for me to start using them instead of just looking at them sitting on my shelf and going, ooh, pretty. So it'll be writing video, craft video, writing video, craft video. That way, in theory, I can get back on having 1 video a week, and I might still make little mentions of other bits in whichever video I'm doing, but one will primarily be focused on writing and book stuff, and then the next one will be crafting things. Because this channel is supposed to be about crafting a creative and fulfilling life, not just pigeonholing myself and making me hate the hobbies that bring me joy because I feel like I have to push, grind and get things done to be able to make a video about it. That's not the point. That's not the point. And if you too are feeling that pressure, then maybe you need to take some time and reevaluate a better way to go forward. Because yes, I understand. You gotta shake it for the algorithm, but you need to find a way of shaking it that is fulfilling for you and not just for YouTube. So on that note, I will catch you guys all in the next one. And remember, we're all just works in progress. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, Darklings.